Hello everybody, I'm Liz, and today I'm going to talk about some of my favorite LGBTQIA+ reads that I have read in the past about year or so since I made my last favorite LGBTQIA+ books that I've loved to read. So I'm not going to mention any of those books from that video. I'm just going to talk about more recent reads, as I have read a lot more books with these LGBTQIA+ elements, and I absolutely adore them. This video is definitely inspired by me finishing Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. I completed this last night. I started reading it last night, and I could not put it down. It is definitely amazing, and I love Becky Albertalli's books, and I just gobble them up. Leah is my mini-me. She is the person that I was in middle school, but like better. And that's why I loved that book so much. I highly recommend you read it, and that will jump off the first book I recommend for LGBTQIA+ reads. Because Leah is bisexual, she is not out yet to her friends, which is a part of the Simon versus the Homo Sapiens agenda universe. And she's Simon's friend, and it's her own spin-off book, and I absolutely loved it so much as she goes about her senior year of high school and dealing with leaving friends to go off to college, dealing with her sexual identity and whether or not to come out with her friends, because she feels like she kind of missed the mark when she should have come out last year when Simon came out, but she didn't. And so she's like in this turmoil, and I felt for her the whole time, and I just love her character so much, and her resting bitch face. So obviously I am also going to tell you guys to read Simon versus the Homo Sapiens agenda if you haven't read it, because it is fantastic. It is the first book published and that I read of Becky Albertalli, and it is fan-freaking-tastic. It is about a boy named Simon who is a closeted gay man, and he doesn't want his high school to know about it, but he's been secretly writing to another gay classmate via anonymous emails, and one of Simon's classmates reads his email and blackmails him in order to get a date from another classmate, because if he doesn't do it, then he'll out Simon. And so it is definitely a very interesting read, and I absolutely loved this book. Another one of my favorite reads of this year is Two Boys Kissing by David Levithan. This book hosts quite a majority of different points of view and different characters that all mesh together at the very end of the story. And essentially it has two boys that are ex-boyfriends who decide to break the Guinness World Record of longest kiss. And so there's definitely like politics involved and all this other stuff going on in the background, while we have other characters, some out gays as a couple, others that are closeted gays really struggling with their sexuality, and it's narrated by the ghosts of the HIV epidemic from the 80s that have died, and they're kind of just looking in on this society and these basically the pivotal pride movement and the gains of the LGBT community. And so it was such a phenomenal read, and I bawled my eyes out at the end, and I just love this book so much. The next book, which was one of my favorite reads of last year, is More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. Basically any of Adam Silvera's books hosts LGBTQ+ characters, predominantly gay males, and I just absolutely love his stories. They are so heartfelt. They breach upon a lot of social injustices, social issues, and just kind of like problematic acceptance and homophobia in real life, while he twists some sci-fi elements in his stories, and so I absolutely adore them. More Happy Than Not is about a 16-year-old named Aaron who is kind of just living life in New York in this poor neighborhood, and he has a girlfriend, and he's just kind of living his life, figuring out things as they go along, as all adolescents do. And in the background, there is this technology that lets you erase painful memories that make you really just don't want to live anymore, make you feel like you are not living the life that you want to be, and so they'll delete those memories to try to make you more happy. And so it definitely dives into like depression and just like you being you, and whether those memories being deleted really changes you, or if you can actually get away from it or not. And it was just a really powerful story, and I absolutely loved it. Now, taking a step back from all of my contemporary loves, we'll get into some more of the fantastical ones. Specifically, Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo and its sequel, Crooked Kingdom. It has a lot of LGBTQIA plus elements in it. There's a gay male character love interests in the story. There's also asexuality, aromantic type things in the book, and so it talks about all this stuff while these characters go on the heist of a lifetime to try to become rich and all that stuff. And so it's a band of 7 misfits that come together to steal some pretty pricey things and prove that they are like the greatest bandits and thieves of this culture. And Leigh Bardugo, this is part of the Grishaverse. It just takes place 20 years after the Grisha trilogy. Next, we have an urban fantasy set in the Roaring 20s, which is The Diviners by Libba Bray. The first book has a male gay romance going on, but as you read the books and further along, you also get an asexual character, and so that is quite fantastic. I love that Libba Bray just introduces new characters as the books go along and ties them all so well, and she's so good with diversity as it talks about interracial couples, especially during this time period, and also the issue of eugenics and all the other like weird things that happened during this era. It is particularly centered around Edie O'Neill, who is a diviner. She can read people's pasts by touching objects, and that got her into trouble in her town in Ohio. So she moves to New York to live with her uncle, and her uncle gets thrust in this murder investigation, and she decides to use her powers to try to help solve the murder. And obviously she gets into a lot of trouble. She meets a lot of people, and it is so fantastic. I love this time era and being a part of it and just absorbing all the crazy mayhem. The last recommend I have for you today is actually a comic book, which is The Wicked and the Divine by a slew of artists and everything. And this is a really awesome, fantastical type urban fantasy. This book takes place where every 90 years, gods are reincarnated into bodies of just everyday people in society, and they either get to be great or wicked or any type of play on a lot of things. There's interesting sets of rules in this book, and the main character, Lauren, is obsessed with these reincarnated gods, and she wants to be one, and so she attends their concerts because a lot of them end up becoming pop sensations. And so it's a very interesting book. The reads and the art is really my favorite aspect of this book. I just absolutely adore the artwork and learning about the lore and just going along for the ride of the plot. So I definitely highly recommend this book. So there you have it. You have some of my favorite LGBTQIA plus reads. If you have some great ones that I have not mentioned, please let me know down below, as I love absorbing all of these fantastical stories about these fantastical people in the diverse world that we actually really have today. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please stick around if you like by commenting, subscribing, and all that jazz. And I hope to see you guys again next time. Love you. Bye!